we are getting closer and closer to the time of year where we are losing the warmth, we're losing light. It's definitely getting darker out sooner. We've definitely got a reduction in our temperatures, although we are supposed to have a little bit of a spike this weekend, which isn't a bad thing because we are going to need that spike for what we are doing today. Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to the channel. So it is cool out despite it being later in the morning. It's very, very exciting. I know, dorky, but because of that, I know we are getting closer and closer to the time of year where we are losing the warmth, we're losing light. It's definitely getting darker out sooner. We've definitely got a reduction in our temperatures, although we are supposed to have a little bit of a spike this weekend, which isn't a bad thing because we are going to need that spike for what we are doing today. So we're going to go on ahead and we are going to take some time to clear out some of the dying stuff out of our green stalk. And I'm going to reset it, add a little bit of handful of dirt in the top, and then what we will be doing is planting our sweet peas. So these are snap peas, of course, is what they are typically called. And we have a hard time growing these in our area in the springtime, primarily because our temperatures are either way too cold, way too warm, way too cold, and way too warm, so that they never really have a chance to fully take off real well. At least that's been my experience in this growing area. So we're going to go on ahead and we are going to try for a really good fall harvest this year. And what we have are a few different heirloom varieties that are actually container friendly. So in other words, they don't get over 18 inches in height. They don't need a lot of staking. They don't need trellising, which is going to be perfect for the green stalks. Not that I can't trellis in the green stalks because I do have the tier support, so I can totally do that if they end up needing it. But that's just going to end up working out super well for us here. And it's going to be lovely. They'll bear up under the frost. They'll have these sweet little flowers during the cold periods that we're going to be having here very soon. And it's just going to be lovely to have something that is nice and flush and full in our green stalks during the fall season. The other good thing about them is that they tend to be a little bit more frost tolerant. Because of that fact, we don't have to worry so much about doing a whole lot of covering, but we have that option because there are frost covers for the green stalks. So yeah, it's going to just make harvesting and I think make life a whole lot easier for us. But let me go on ahead and get you on the hyperlapse here. I need to get some gloves and get some equipment because we need to clear out the green stalk from all of the dying tomato plants and flower plants that are in there, the herbs that have been spent for the year. We need to get all of those guys out of there and then start getting some soil in and some nutrition back into, of course, our pockets, because don't forget, these are containers, so treat accordingly with fertilizer appropriately. You don't want to over fertilize, but you also don't want to under fertilize. There's a little bit of a balance and it does take a little bit of figuring it out, but once you do, these guys are super amazing. I highly recommend them. I actually can't recommend them enough. Just saying. Let's get going here. Okay, so I forgot to mention this. We've got our GreenStalk cleaned out mostly and then reset here with some good garden soil. But I forgot to mention what else we're going to be including in these GreenStalks. These are some herbs. Whew. It's getting warm out. These are some herbs that are really amazing to grow in the cooler months. So we're talking early spring and also going into fall. So if you've ever had trouble with these herbs, I'm basically going to be telling you why here. It is because cilantro and parsley, dill as well, are kind of all partial to cooler temperatures. So if you've ever struggled with growing these guys, try growing them in the, like we're talking late winter going into early spring months and then going into fall, especially if you're in a really warm zone like we are. We are obviously in the south. The Ozarks tends to be really hot and humid. Yeah, anyway, try growing these guys then. You will have way more success, and there's a good likelihood, especially if you have just a smidge more space or have a GreenStalk set up like this, that you can get it to overwinter and maybe even come back in the spring and then again in the fall. We have a cilantro that has been doing that for us for the last year and a half over by our sunflower bed. So we've been enjoying harvesting fresh cilantro off of that plant. It's the first plant that we've ever really been able to get a significant amount of cilantro off of. So I am hopeful that by planting these guys into our GreenStalks and being able to put in, or put on rather, our frost cover, that we may be able to get them to pull through into spring and be able to get quite a bit of harvest off of them for our pantry, because you really can't have guacamole without cilantro. I'm just saying, you kind of can't. So let's go on ahead and start getting these guys into some of our holes, as well as our parsley here. And I showed you this, guys, during the spring. 9 times out of 10, if you pay really close attention. Let me get in here, try and get a good angle. You've got more than one plant in here. So see that right there? That's one plant. Then right here next to it is a second plant right there. And then we've got a third plant clear over here on the other side. So you can sometimes walk away with more than one plant in a pot. Now I'm not going to divide this guy completely out. I'm probably going to just take off this larger guy here on the end and put him in a separate pocket by himself, but otherwise I'm going to pretty much leave these guys bundled together, and then I will be making space, of course, for our lovely cilantro. So let's go on ahead and get that going, and then we can work on getting our shelling peas into the rest of the pockets here. Okay? Now, it goes without saying that direct planting seeds in a GreenStalk is just as easy as doing it in a raised bed or any container. All you do is put your little seed in, push it down slightly. So I aim for it to not be any deeper than it is long. And then I'm just gonna cover it up. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is to go on ahead and get these all watered in. Now, we have that top watering reservoir that is this up here. Okay, so I normally water through that. However, since I have put seeds in directly, I've done a direct sow method into our GreenStalk, I am going to go on ahead and water the pockets a little bit. That's just to moisten the soil where the seed is, to get it settled in, and then to help with the germination process. After I have those pockets soaked, those pockets will continue to wick the water up from that reservoir as it drips down, because it is probably the most effective as far as watering goes in a growing vertical tier that I've encountered personally. They've done it in such a way that it works. And it gets water all throughout the pocket. It gets it towards the front, it gets it towards the back, and in the middle you don't have dry spots or weird spots that happen in the green stalks. Part of the reason why I love them so much is basically once I do direct sow, because I really do like to direct sow a lot in our zone, I find that I have stronger plants when I do direct sowing versus seed starting. So I try to do that as often as I possibly can. And the green stalk just works well. I don't know what else to tell you. So if you've never ever tried a green stalk, I highly recommend the company. It's a family-owned American company, made in the US. What else can I say? I mean, they're phenomenal people. Their customer service is great. They would be happy to answer any questions as well. So I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to get this guy watered in and finished up for the day. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've hung out this long, just know that we still do have our quick start guide to small space gardening available. There's also a freebie available online as well. If you would like the 5 steps to starting your small space garden, you can get those. But if you want more information, you really should get that quick start guide. Also, here at the end of the video, I'll go on ahead and I will put some more information on the green stalks and what we have done with our green stalks in the past. So go on ahead and check out that video as well. Guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.